Hello and welcome to this Managed Methods video. Today we're going to be investigating student safety alerts and going over the student safety aspects of the Managed Methods Cloud Monitor platform. To begin with, if you're a counselor, principal, or other administrator who's tasked with helping handle student safety issues, you might be looking at your inbox similar to what have pulled up here today. And what you might notice is if things have been set up for you, that there are notification emails coming in that might be around self-harm or things of that nature. So what this can provide you is some indication that there's some kind of problem or some kind of issue going on. Sometimes it may be really evident. Here in this example we have, there's very clearly some concerning text in this case. But with that, there's an option here to go ahead and click on the View button. And what the View button does is it's going to actually launch the platform here. So it's going to go ahead and take you to your unique server URL. It's going to take you to the environment here. And then from there, you can use the Sign in with Google option here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and continue here as this account, and it's going to go ahead and dump me directly here into the risks tab to start with. Now for anything that's coming from the drive file side of things, it's going to go ahead and put you into the risks tab here and allow you to investigate that very quickly. We'll come back to a moment on the email side and can explain some of the differences there. So here I'm on the risks tab. I can see that there's a number of things going on here within the environment. First off, I can see there's a total number of active risks. I can see where those risks are distributed within files and emails. I can see which accounts in my environment have the most risks. And then up in the upper right hand corner, you might notice that in this case, I only have limited access into things. So I'm able to see just student information. And that's probably going to be your case as well too. You're just able to see things within your specific building level. So you're not going to see a bunch of information coming from other sources, other locations. You're not going to see staff information. It's really going to be focused in on that student side of things here. Over on the right hand side, you may see different enabled risks. These are the risk scans that are currently on in your environment. Some of these will not be turned on just depending on the environment, and there are some additional risk scans in here that are just example risk scans as well too. What these risk scans are the detectors. They're going to be what's going out and looking for things within the environment. So they're going to be looking in Drive files, looking in OneDrive files. They're going to be looking in Gmail and Outlook and SharePoint Teams. Again, it depends on your environment. If you're a Google only school, it's only going to be looking in the Google side of things. If you're a Google and a Microsoft school, you may be operating in both platforms there, but the look and feel here is going to be very similar. In this case, it's gone ahead and already pre-filtered something for me here in this case because I went ahead and clicked on that View button, so it took me right to the Risks tab here, took me right to this document in question here that gotten flagged as potential self-harm. So just at an initial glance here, I'm able to see some basic information. So I have the name of the document, I have what it was flagged as, so in this case it was flagged as self-harm, and this ML stands for machine learning. The platform here has three different types of machine learning. It has a self-harm machine learning model, which is going to go out and look at the sentiment and context of things. It has a toxicity risk machine learning model that's going to go out and look for more inappropriate language, violent language, things of that nature. And then it does also have an image risk machine learning model looking for adult or violent image files there. There are additional models that can be enabled. One of those that's out of the box is a self-harm strict model, which is a phrase-based model, which you'll see here in a moment, that can go ahead and flag things for self-harm as well too. And then depending on district needs, additional risk scans can be turned on by administrators in your technology department as well too. Next up, I can also see when this was picked up on. So we can see it was picked up here this morning. And then I can also see here that it was this particular student account that was involved with the incident. If I go ahead and click on the name of the file in question here, it's going to give me some basic information right away. So I'm quickly able to see, okay, who's the owner of this file? Who did this student share this file to? Who is holding this file in my environment and where that's located? Which environment is it in? And then I get some information on when things happen. So we can see here, this is when it was created, this was when it was last modified, and here's when it was initially picked up. So it's picked up here early on in the morning, and then this document's had some modifications since then as well too. And then there's also the item ID, which is just the ID as it would exist in Google. Under the notes section here, or under the details section rather, next to the notes section, there's going to be some information that's provided. So in this case, there were two different risks found. This particular risk flagged both the self-harm strict model as well as the self-harm machine learning model. So these models can work in conjunction with each other, where you may see situations where both models might flag something potentially. So in this case, we get a little bit of a snippet of the text with the self-harm strict model. It's a phrase-based model, so it's specifically looking for the text you're going to see here in bold. For the machine learning models, these operate a little bit differently, and they're going to be operating based on a risk scoring level. And that's going to range from 75 on the low end all the way up to 100. 100 means that it's very likely to be self-harm, and 75 means it's on the lower end of potential likelihood that it will be self-harm. So things that are in the 100, the 99, there's a much greater chance that those will be self-harm. Now, we can't guarantee that things will be 100% self-harm. That's why over on the right-hand side, there's a false positive button. So if you do run across something as you're investigating things and go and look at it and go, that was actually nothing of concern, or that's not an issue, you can go ahead and report those things back to us as false positives. That information is made anonymous, it's randomized, and it's used to help retrain these models moving forward. So these self-harm machine learning models will go ahead and change over time there. For risks that are phrase-based like self-harm strict here, that false positive button isn't going to do a whole lot other than ignore the risk, and that is going to be the same action you'll find under here where it says ignore. So what ignore does is it says, I've looked at this incident doesn't need to be looked at any further. It's going to go ahead and remove that risk from here. It's not going to impact the file, not going to impact the email, anything like that. It's just going to remove the risk from this risks tab here is all. You may also notice there's a download button, but before you even get to the download button, there's some options here to go ahead and take a quick look at what the risk looked like to the end user. So there's a really quick preview here so we can say, okay, there's the phrasing right there. Not a whole lot of other context on this one, so probably something where, yes, we need to go ahead and get involved and figure out what's going on with this student, figure out why there's an issue here, why this student is feeling this way, and get on top of that. But that previews are really handy to get a quick snippet of what's going on with things. Now, if this is a multi-page document or something like that, where there's lots of areas of concern, lots of things that are concerning in there, that's where you can come in here and use the download button to go ahead and download that directly, either from here and here, or this will download a local copy for you to take a look at more directly there, and that's for full review, or if you need to retain a copy of it for whatever reason there as well. To the right-hand side, there's a notes section. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump views here from one. Right now, I'm in what we call the global view, but I can go into my specific student view, and then I can come back to that particular risk scan in question here. So there's that self-harm machine learning risk again here. If I come over to the notes section here, I have the ability to come in here and actually add notes to risks directly. So what a note does is it's a way to go ahead and keep a log of what's happened or provide additional further context. So this could be something where I could write, I'm following up with this. So I could say I'm following up with this incident, and then I could go ahead and press submit. And if I go ahead and press submit on that, it's going to go ahead and generate this risk note here. I can see when that was created. I can also see when that was last updated. And anyone who has access into the platform, into what you're seeing here, is going to be able to go ahead and review those notes as well. So you can take multiple notes on an individual risk if there's multiple incidents or problems happening there. If I go ahead and click out of this view now, you're able to now see that there's this little icon here and now this what we call label next to the risk. So there's labels available, and this is one of the system default labels called risk note, which is always going to be applied if you create any notes on any risks. But you can also generate your own labels as well too. So we can see we've got some different examples in here. So I could go ahead and grab this one here and say this one's going to be my responsibility. I could also say, hey, this is a really important thing, and I could apply both of those labels right like that to this risk. So now I know when someone else clicks in here as well too, hey, this is a really important thing. I'm the one handling this, and I've also already put in a note about the incident or the issue as well too. So that's the idea behind the labels, make it a little bit easier to figure out who's going to be handling what things, or just provide some clarity as well. That way when you say, okay, this is something that's really important when you're looking through those other various risk scans. There is also one other feature here that you can take, which is going to be the ignore action. So this is an action you can take in bulk, again, if you need to go ahead and remove things from the risks tab. Any of the risks that you'll see here on the right-hand side are clickable. So for example, if I was concerned about self-harm strict more generally, I could come in here and take a look at things, and I could notice, oh, it looks like there's another label in here on one of these other ones, so somebody else has gone ahead and labeled something as well too. Again, just like the rest of the risks, I can come in here and can click into these. I can take a look at the information. I can see what's happening with the incident or the issue. There's also toggles here at the bottom for previous and next, which will take you through the different risks that way as well. So some quick ways you can quickly navigate through those risks. And this is really going to be the primary area you as an administrator, school counselor, are going to be potentially principal, are going to be potentially looking in, is going to be this risk section. This is where the concerning information is. This is where the platform is going through the environment. It's pulling out those specific things that are worth review, worth a check-in on, because there might be some kind of cause for concern or some kind of issue there. And these risks will change over time as well too. Risks will stay within this environment for a 90-day time period here. So you've got some time to review those, some time to go ahead and take a look and investigate those a little bit further here. Once you have a good handle on what's going on in the risks tab, sometimes you may end up on the policy violations tab. At the very beginning of this video, I mentioned that sometimes you might run into a situation where if you click on one of those policy violation emails, it pops you over actually into the policy violations tab. So if I go ahead and come back to one of these ones here and grab this view button again, it'll open up another version of the platform here, a new tab for me, and I can see here's my risk. Now, if I went ahead and clicked on this, it would actually take me over to the Gmail tab. That's a tab I don't have permission on in this view. Some of you may have permission in the Gmail tab where you're able to go ahead and do some investigations and things like that into Gmail. Not everyone may have that permission level here. So if that's the situation, the recommendation is to go ahead and grab that email subject line here, come back over to the risks tab here, and then what you can do is you can actually search for that by name. So if I go ahead and press and paste that into here, I can go ahead and actually search for that, and I can see, oh, we've got multiple of these emails here that have been floating around. So now I'm able to quickly see that. I'm able to quickly dive into that, just like the rest of the risks there as well too. So that's a recommendation if you are taking a look at anything on the email side, is you're going to want to go ahead and just copy over that from the policy violations tab. Just go ahead and paste it into the search here. You should be able to go ahead and locate that pretty quickly here. The only time you may not see something in the risks tab here that you got a notification on is if the file or the email was completely deleted from the domain as a whole. That's something that doesn't happen too often, but there can be occasions where that's the case. That's something where you'd want to then reach out to your technology department there, have them go ahead and use things on their side to go ahead and retrieve that for you directly. Again, it doesn't happen too often, but there can be occasions where someone will go ahead and delete something, go ahead and take some kind of action on that way. The platform isn't able to, we don't retain things in that nature there, so we're not going to go ahead and keep those forever. And when someone does delete something entirely, we don't see that anymore there, and they empty their trash there, either from the Google or the Microsoft side there. So. And then as a workflow process, really the important thing to take a look at is your notification emails. This is what's going to drive things. This is going to let you know, hey, there's a problem, there's an incident that's happened. This is something I may want to come and take a look at. Now, at any point, you can come into the platform itself and dive through the risks, take a look at what's going on, what issues are happening, what problems are happening there that way as well too. But really those notification emails, again, you've got busy days, you probably don't have time to just dive into the platform at random times. So it's going to be most valuable when you get those notification emails. That's going to let you know, hey, there is a problem. There's something that is worth your time to potentially take a look at and investigate a little bit further there. So that's going to be the Managed Methods platform from a student safety perspective. Hopefully this video has been helpful in giving you a little bit of further insight into how to investigate those risks, how to take a look at the information in here, and then make some of those decisions